This weekend, ActionSA and Ngcobo will be outlining their governance strategies and their overall plans, hoping the electorate will give them the mandates. Newzroom Afrika's Ziyanda and Ngcobo joins me live from the Ellis Park Arena in Johannesburg. And this is where ActionSA is going to brief the country about their state of readiness for a big event tomorrow. Ziyanda, good morning. Firmly on the campaign trail then this weekend is ActionSA and some of the other parties.
That's right, and one of the last few manifesto launches that we'll be seeing, and then of course kicking straight into election campaign mode. But of course ActionSA launching in 2020 but making electoral strides, Iman, in particular during those 2021 local government elections, and certainly the polls indicating that they are still on a growth trajectory. Let's bring in Michael Beaumont to talk about tomorrow what your message is going to be, because a lot of the time maybe some of the critique that has been lodged against ActionSA has been about your immigration policy, although many would argue at the same time that it is landing on the electorate.
Well, I think before we go any further, Ziyanda, we are very happy to be among the last parties launching our manifesto, because we've had the opportunity to watch different political parties in the failed establishment of South African politics who have come forward and delivered pie-in-the-sky promises and completely misread the national mood of South Africa. South Africans are fed up with false promises, and they're fed up with the new promises being laid on the broken promises of the past. So what we're going to have is a manifesto that is built on credibility. We're not just going to tell South Africans what we're going to do in government, we're going to tell them how we're going to do it, so that they can believe in that credibility. Certainly from a point of view of our policies, we have a number of focal areas, not just immigration, certainly the economy, the rule of law, economic justice and inclusive economic empowerment. But absolutely, immigration is an important cornerstone of ActionSA's policy offering, and we base it on the rule of law, that South Africa has borders, and like every country, we must exercise the right to determine how goods and people enter and leave our country.
I've noticed, interesting that you've mentioned that you've watched all the other manifesto launches, because the IFP is seemingly having a similar message to ActionSA when it comes to issues like the death penalty, immigration, etc. Although ActionSA has not positioned itself to be a right-leaning nationalist party. So in terms of the confusion that many have said exists amongst the electorate in terms of who to vote for, what is the distinguishing factor that's going to be set you apart when you launch your manifesto tomorrow?
Well, I think there's a number of distinguishing factors. The first of which is our party will deliver its manifesto through our president, who has a positive track record in government. There's very few party leaders that can actually say that in South African politics, and that credibility matters in a country where people keep being told what's going to be done, but nothing actually gets done in the first place. Our leader is also someone who has succeeded in business, so when he lays down our offering for the economy, he speaks with a strong credibility in that regard. But we've also tabled Team Fix South Africa. A team is a shadow cabinet of 18 people, highly skilled, highly experienced experts in their industry, who are going to co-present our manifesto alongside our president. Politics is a team sport. It's not about one individual. And Herman Mashaba will be accompanied by that team in presenting a set of solutions that are different, not just because they are exciting and new, but different because South Africans can look at them, understand them, and see how they will be implemented.
Just lastly from my side, because of course you're still going to have that briefing at 11 o'clock, the multi-party charter that you form a part of, there's constantly reports about there being fissures there. Do you, standing here as the national chairperson, still believe in the MPC?
Absolutely, because what the MPC is a representation of the will of South Africans, that political parties must come together and we must work together for their interests so we can fix the greatest challenges in our country. That remains as true today, if not more true today, than it was 8 months ago when the MPC was formed. Is it perfect? Do the parties get along? Absolutely not. South Africans shouldn't expect that. But what they should expect is that these parties will work together in their interests, and from an ActionSA standpoint, we remain very committed to that principle.
Let's hope that if the MPC does actually lead national government, we won't see the kind of chaos we've seen in several municipalities, including Johannesburg and Tshwane. Michael Beaumont is a familiar face that was always attending those council sittings, Iman, and this is a very important question. Coalition governments ahead of those May 29 polls, what are the political parties telling South Africans? Are they able to actually determine what is actually attractive towards them, and will there be a decisive victory for any of these parties that are presenting all these election plans?
Yeah, there is no truth like a lived experience, Ziyanda. It's up to the voters to see their experience of coalitions and the promise of what political parties are saying in the run-up to those elections to secure their votes. Do those two things talk to each other? Ziyanda and Ngcobo will continue to keep tabs on the state of readiness of some parties for the election as they continue to launch their election and campaigning manifestos and messages to try and win over those millions of registered South Africans who are geared to vote come May 29.